Welcome to the webinar, List, Charts, and Tracking Our Progress. My name is Shondell Day, and I'm with the Education Department at AFSCME International. I will be serving as your host for this session. I'm now going to turn the session over to our presenters, Katie and Jessalyn.
Welcome. I'm so glad you all could join us. My name is Katie Weidling, and I'm in the Education Department with AFSCME International. And joining us today is Jessalyn Perez. We're going to be going through the importance of using lists, charting our work, and tracking our progress over the next half an hour. This topic is near and dear to me. I've been an organizer for the last 8 years before coming to the Education Department, and I've worked with many locals, councils, and people all over the country.
Hello, sisters and brothers. My name is Jessalyn, and I am the organizer representative with AFSCME Local 1902 based in Los Angeles. I've been in the labor movement for nearly a decade in various capacities, and we know that when locals know who is a member and who is not, they have a much greater ability to mobilize the membership, allowing them to accomplish important goals that enrich the lives of their members. We use lists and charts in order to understand where our strengths are.
As a result of today's webinar, you will know tips for utilizing lists, reporting, and charting, understand how to use the AFSCME Strong assessment and tracking system, and be ready to use lists and charts to build your local union. As we know, there's an important Supreme Court decision coming early next year, Friedrichs versus California Teachers Association, which will diminish the power of public sector unions. The decision will effectively make the country right to work, limiting our resources, limiting our ability to negotiate and to speak up for one another, and ultimately slashing our members' right to choose to join a union. This case is funded by anti-union corporate elites who have a vested interest in shutting down the voice of working people, the voice that all of us and those before us have fought so hard to make. What can we do in order to fight back attacks on our union, our livelihoods, and the services we provide?
Good question, Katie. Well, we have a plan. This plan is called AFSCME Strong, and it is already being rolled out and working in locals and councils all across the country. This is what it will take to win. 1, sign up agency or partial fee payers as full union members. Fair share units will be the first to go and right to work. 2, engage in effective organizing conversations with at least 80% of our members to warn them of the looming attacks and ask them to be more active with our union. And 3, ask every union member we speak with to join people at the MVP level. Many of you have probably heard the term fair share or agency fee payer. This is where non-members contribute monetarily to our union because they are included in receiving the same raises that the members fought so hard to gain. So-called right to work means that in some states, public employees don't pay their fair share, but still get the benefits of the contract. Here it is explained.
Talk at the Supreme Court about union fair share fees. Some politicians say that workers are forced to pay a fee even if they choose not to join a union. But is that honest? Imagine, you and 3 of your friends are going out to dinner. 3 of you want to go to Applebee's. But one friend wants to go to Sizzler. You all end up at Applebee's. And after dinner, you get the check. Your one friend says, I'm not going to pay. I wanted to go to Sizzler. When you remind him that he enjoyed his meal as much as anyone else, and it's only fair that he chip in, he shrugs his shoulders and says, doesn't matter. I wanted to go to Sizzler. So it is with unions. Everyone votes on whether to join, and if a majority votes yes, everyone gets the benefits. They get better wages, health care, a secure retirement, and protections against wrongful firing.
I don't like your face. You want to go on a date? You're ugly. I don't like your clothes. I don't like your shoestrings. You're fired.
So it's only fair that everyone chips in to cover the cost of those benefits. Hopefully all our friends would kick in their fair share at dinner.
Oh, okay. I get it now. I'll chip in.
Just watch out for those politicians who are out to make the middle class go hungry.
I love that video. Please feel free to share it with your network. The link will be provided on the resources page at the end of this webinar. Now that we have an idea of what's at stake, let's talk about our vision and plan. That is, to rebuild solidarity and power in our union through one-on-one conversations. And this is what our plan looks like. When each local and council across the country reaches these goals, we will have connected with at least 80% of our workforce and recruited at least 5% of our union members to be effective communicators and AFSCME Strong activists. If we work hard now to achieve these goals, we can stay strong and we can fight back against the upcoming and constant attacks. So, Katie, how do we measure our success? How do we know if we're reaching our goals? Where do we even start?
We start with lists, and then we use charts to track our progress.
At this point, you might be wondering, what information can we capture from membership lists? How does a membership list help us?
A list is a grid that captures, organizes, and tracks information. A list is a tool that can help guide our work as activists to help keep track of each person we have spoken with and assessed. A list helps us to figure out who works where, maybe which floor or shift they work on, and who they work with. A list also shows us who the agency or partial fee payers are, and that's important because that's who we need to reach out to first. We can see who our full union members and supporters are, and we've got to speak with all of them too. And lastly, a list can show us which members are people contributors.
Lists are available in different forms and we can get them from different places, but the best place to start is from your local. This may be a staff rep, organizer, aka AFSCME Strong coach, or your local office. Another good place to find a list is from your steward or board member. And lastly, sometimes a schedule from the employer has accurate data with people's names, shifts, and area. We can see on this particular list the person's name, job title, shift, if they are assigned to a leader or activist, if they are a member, and if they contribute to people at the MVP level. The leader or activist column is where you put your name as a commitment you make to personally speak with those on the list.
Activists can divide up their list to make sure all fee payers and union members are being educated about what's at stake. This is one example of a list, but some lists may have different information and may contain several hundred people. If you have been through the AFSCME Strong activist training, then you should already have access to your list, either from your staff rep, organizer, database, or sometimes directly from your employer. Oftentimes lists are imperfect. You may personally know more than what's on the list. If someone has retired or quit, moved or relocated, it's important to make note of any change in information in order to update the data. We call that cleaning up the list. The updated list should be returned to your local, your staff rep, organizer, or your AFSCME Strong coach.
On this list, we can see that at the top, there are 3 fee payers, so that is who we want to speak with first. Depending on what information you want, a list can be compiled various ways. Here are some data points you may want to ask for when getting the list from your local. Name and worksite are really important, but so are cell phone numbers and personal emails. This way we can get a hold of people with important upcoming events, rallies, and other information. This information is helpful to know in order to plan your one-on-one conversations. For example, if someone works the 3 to 11 shift, you can plan to meet them before they go in. A phone number is good if you want to set up a time to speak with them. We know going through the entire list of who we work with can be a bit overwhelming, so you should pick a couple of people that you know at work who have also been through the AFSCME activist training and go over the list to divvy up who will reach out to each person on your list. AFSCME Strong activists across the country are having these valuable conversations during their lunch, their union breaks, or sometimes beyond working hours. The goal is to reach everyone. But we need to start with our agency or partial fee payers. And Katie, why do you think that's so important?
Great question. Should the Supreme Court side with Friedrichs, anyone working under a union contract who has not signed a membership card will no longer pay their fair share, but they will still receive the same benefits of those who are paying. This is similar to what happened in Wisconsin, where members and non-members lost as much as $200 per paycheck. A lot of times fee payers have never been asked to join our union, and it's our job to do just that. Use the list to figure out where to start. Then set up a time with those same coworkers to get together, and discuss the conversations each of you are having with your coworkers.
When getting together with other activists, it's important that we continue to grow the list and update it. Reflect day-to-day changes at your work site, including promotions, who joins our union, who won't join our union, and any new volunteers or activists. Constantly assess the list and always keep in mind the future needs of the chapter. All right, let's review. After we have gotten the list from our staff rep, here are some best practices for using the list wisely. 1, ask a couple of coworkers to help you, preferably during lunch, to divide up the list. 2, talk to the fee payers first. Anyone who has not recently submitted a union membership application can be dropped. The partial fee payers are the most important conversations, which should happen first, as they will be dropped once the Supreme Court decision hits. And 3, reflect day-to-day changes on your list. Remember to continue to update the list with notes on each conversation you have.
Every new conversation and every assessment all has to be funneled up to your union's president, staff rep, or organizer. Every local across the country is doing the same thing in order to gauge our union's strength nationally. The conversations you're having are really important, so we've got to keep track of them. You can use this form to guide you with every conversation and then fill it out when you're done. We are encouraging everyone to use this form. As a new AFSCME Strong activist, this is an integral part of capturing the conversation in order to update our list and charts. You want to add as much information as possible, including contact information, any issues or concerns they may have, the member assessment, as well as who will be following up and by when they will do so. You should fill out a contact reporting form for each conversation, even if they don't sign a membership card. These forms should be turned into your staff rep or organizer. And this form is listed on the resources page if you don't already have copy. Please talk to an organizer, staff rep, or your AFSCME Strong coach.
All right, to review, these are some tips for filling out the contact reporting form. A, fill out the contact reporting form as soon as possible. B, include as much information as possible. And C, turn in the contact reporting form to your staff rep or organizer.
And now we come to the assessments. This is the assessment system we're using for the AFSCME Strong campaign. Some of you might be using a variation of this system, and that's okay. This is a guide, and this is what many people across the country are using. But if your local or council has come up with something different, use that.
So we can see number 1 is an activist, someone who engages their coworkers and goes above and beyond the call of duty to make sure folks are educated and involved in our union. A 2 is someone who is a supporter, They've taken action, they've signed their membership card, but they need a little more encouragement to become an activist. A 3 is someone who is undecided. They haven't signed a union card yet, but we definitely want to engage them and encourage them to become a supporter. A 4 is someone who is anti-union. There's absolutely no chance of moving them to join our union, although we want to speak with them first to assess them as a 4.
And while we don't want to minimize our coworkers to mere numbers, with the Supreme Court decision looming and other attacks that we have seen across the country from the corporate elite, we're having hundreds of thousands of one-on-one conversations in order to gauge where we are in strength as a union. It's important to use an assessment system to update our list and to track our progress in order to plan for our future. Knowing where members stand does help our union plan for the future. In other words, the assessment system allows us to answer the question, who can we count on and who is not with us?
And that is the question we should all be asking ourselves. Using the same list, here it is color-coded by assessment. However you set up your list, whether on paper or electronic, for the best understanding, use a color system to best capture the snapshot view of your assigned area. Many people use colored dots if using a paper copy. In this example, we can see that Sarah Wong is the only person left on our list that has not been approached or assessed, so she would be a priority conversation. John Smith is assessed as a 4, as he's anti-union and marked in red. So we know not to go back to him or to reach out to him with important information. There should also be a follow-up conversation with Hong Yuan and a plan to speak with the others who are not yet People MVP contributors.
Using lists really helps us to get ourselves organized. It's also a means to creating two-way communications. It builds authentic relationships. It helps to build solidarity. It gives us a better understanding of our coworkers, and it helps to establish a strong union presence.
Again, to review, a list is a tool that can help guide our work as activists to help us plan and keep track of each person we have spoken with and assessed. Our list will continue to change and be updated as we have more and more conversations. The updated list should be turned into your local staff rep, organizer, or AFSCME Strong coach. Lists help us to better understand our coworkers and their support for our union. Lists are available for your worksite through your local president, staff rep, organizer, or AFSCME Strong coach.
So what information can we capture using charts? A chart captures the information from the list and makes it easy to read. You can assess how well your entire area is organized and see the progress you and your coworkers are making with each conversation. We're charting our progress with the AFSCME Strong campaign across the country. The chart compiles the information everyone has documented through our one-on-one conversations in an easy-to-understand picture. At a glance, we can see the efforts of our hard work.
This is an example of a chart. We have taken the list and broken it down by specific numbers. There are several different job titles here. Your chart may be broken down by floor or shift, whatever makes the most sense in your area. We can see from this chart that most areas are in pretty good shape. We can see that the CNAs still need several assessments in order to reach our 80% goal, and that their membership percentage is not very high either. We can see from this chart that the lab techs have high membership, but their People MVP levels are low. As our lists are updated, the numbers in the chart continue to change.
And here's another example of a chart that each local and council have filled out. When you report your conversation and debrief, the information on this chart continues to change. Everyone turns in their contact reporting form to their staff rep, organizer, or AFSCME Strong coach, and then the lists change and are updated, compiled into a chart specific for that department. The information is compiled for that local, council, and eventually all the conversations we are having are compiled nationally to figure out how strong we stand as a union. We must ask ourselves, will we be ready when the Supreme Court decision is made? And will we be ready for the continued attacks to come?
Well, because of you, our AFSCME Strong activists, the answer is yes. It is because of all the hard work you are doing out there, using lists to plan who you are going to speak with, using the contact reporting form to capture those conversations, and compiling all of that information into a chart. Because of this, we will be prepared to fight back. Once every single local assesses 80% of their coworkers, and we continue to ask our coworkers to help us and to get active, then we will know we have been successful in our efforts. Charts and lists will help you stay on track and do just that. They are tools to guide you in order to, 1, speak with fee payers and encourage them to become full members, 2, speak with every one of your coworkers, and 3, sign up members at the People MVP level. The resources at the end of this session will include the contact reporting form for you to use.
As you can see, once you receive a list and have your conversations with each coworker, the information then gets transferred and updated to a chart where we can assess our members' commitment to our union. When the chart is updated, it becomes apparent how much closer we are to reaching our AFSCME Strong goals.
Throughout the last 30 minutes or so, we hope you all have gained confidence in your ability to use a list to strategically target your one-on-one conversations in order to capture the information gathered through your conversation, then to chart your progress using the assessment system. Here are some helpful resources you can request from your local, either the contract reporting form, the AFSCME Strong handout. You can get these forms from an organizer, staff rep, or AFSCME Strong coach.
Well, I want to thank you all for participating in this webinar. I want to especially thank our presenters, Katie Wheatley and Jessalyn Perez.
Thank you all for your time and participation.
Thanks again, and good luck out there.